Jenny was speechless. You held her arms and stepped forward. Miss Joy, when we signed the contract back, then we clearly stated that you would cooperate with our staff, especially during the design period. But now it seems that Miss Joy's time is really precious, that she is not willing to cooperate for even a minute. Of course, my assistant being late is a mistake she made, but if she doesn't apologize to you due to her bad attitude, I will naturally punish her. But my assistant apologized to you and even waited for 2 hours for you, right? Let's calculate it this way. How much did Miss Joy wait for 1 more minute? You, Suyuk, didn't expect you to be so sharp-tongued and actually dare to argue with the client's mouth. Her pretty face was full of anger. What did you say? You actually dare to compare her to me? You smiled slightly. People are the same. Why can't they compare? Could it be that Miss Joy is an anomaly? She was so angry. I am a famous international female star. How dare a small designer's assistant compete with me? Not to mention, she is not worthy. Even you are only fit to carry shoes for me. You raised your brow coldly but smiled. Is that so? When your manager came looking for a designer, I didn't expect Miss Joy to look for servant. This contract is cancelled here. Please transfer the money for the breach of contract to my card as scheduled. You held Jenny's hand and smiled at Joy. Then I will thank you for your precious time. Jenny, let's go. Jenny didn't even have time to react when you pulled her out. She was completely stunned. Joy's manager also didn't expect this to happen. You didn't seem to care about your reputation at all. You didn't actually take customers seriously, as he thought that you would come over personally to apologize, but now seemed like he underestimated you. This is the designer you found for me? You actually dared to tell me that her work is first rate. Joy was so mad and scolded her manager. It's not, Miss Joy. She's indeed first rate. Ava is indeed a very excellent designer, as you can find her work online. She seemed to be very casual when she was overseas. I guess Miss Joy needed to treat her a little better. Joy find it funny as a superstar like her will be nicer with a little designer. Now the contract is cancelled. Her manager was little worried as they need to prepare dress for conference which gonna be attend month later. Joy wanted to show you for daring to throw face on her. She will see you on the court but won't pay for it. That Mayan, Sarang, Jenny was shocked as she thought that you will offend that popular actress in the country and worried that she will not pay obediently. But you don't care about that. Losing some money won't make you poor, but your started off career after returning country was not so good. Jenny blamed that to herself. If she didn't ask you to come, things would not happen like that. You are actually in loss, but you won't let her go like that. If you apologized and others don't appreciate it, then it's useless to show your gratitude to others. Jenny is afraid that it will detrimental to your future development, but your self-respect is higher than anything. On the way, assistant director came to give some opportunity for you. You took his card and take time to think for the upcoming contract if you want to do or not. You just lose contract and got another. What a surprise! After all, you are the well-known designer from overseas. The car driver wasn't left yet, so you thanked him to be so available to wait for a long time and sent you back to your residence. Jenny was not in good mood all the way and keep hugging your arms, which time she's being so soft-hearted. Originally, you planned to return Seoul to the Kim family in a few days, just happened to consider that Joy would transfer for Seoul to film in a few days, but this business was cancelled, so you lost your purpose of going to Seoul. Therefore, You decided to discuss this with Sokjin to postpone time to return to the Kim family and make a call quickly. But his chuckled over the phone call immediately gave you a death warrant when he heard it. So he asked you to bring Rovon back sharp tomorrow. You are in stress. No, tomorrow is too fast and I have not brought a ticket yet. I will drive over tonight to pick you up. And you believe that he will do that. He is your biological brother and he treated you so well, so you could not admit defeat. Alright, I will bring tomorrow early morning. Take a car over, okay? He was silent and was not satisfied and tell you that he will come to pick up, but you refused. There will be a traffic jam, so he said that he will send car right now. After dinner, you can prefer to leave after a while resting. That was too much. Both of you agreed on tomorrow, but in the end, he fixed it tonight. As he didn't even let you sleep well, you are a little mad. He didn't get angry when he heard your firestone. Instead, he laughed softly. Be a little more obedient. Come back and get some rest later. He hung the phone. You helplessly scratched your long hair. This brother of yours was good at everything. Just brother. You didn't know if it was because he had been looking for you for the past 18 plus years and found wrong person, then found you, he felt guilty. Is that why he treated you so well, or is it because he is a siscon himself? According to Susie's view, he was indifferent to Yuri in the past. Love, are you going tonight? Her mood made you angry to death. She looked like that fish by guilty of breaking contract. So you made her active telling that Rovon was waiting for her to make braised fish as he really wanted to eat. Mommy, Aunt Nini's red braised fish is really too delicious. He praised his aunt as he looked over her and teased. Then do you want to marry Aunt Nini as a wife? Jenny almost choked on the food. Rovon shook his head seriously. No. Why? Mommy, don't I look stupid? I am only 5 years old. It will take me at least 20 years to get a wife. At that time, Aunt Nini would be oldie. It's not good looking. Jenny frowned. Do you have to be so realistic? Even if I know that I will grow old, it's not your turn to dislike me. Rovon, you actually talk like that to me. Don't you want to eat delicious food in the future made by me? Feeling that his future rice bowl was threatened, he immediately changed his words and phrased her, making satisfaction as the beneficial for both of them. You pinched softly to your son's cheek, whispering, naughty. It was 8 p.m. After dinner, you all packed up things. A car was waiting downstairs, that sent by your brother. Jenny is your assistant, so she naturally wanted to go with you. Although it was not a good name, it didn't matter to get. She don't want to stay alone there. She had been by your side every time. She don't have to make any excuses as Rovon have the habit of this Aunt Nini. He get ready to go and take the car key. Really not staying for 2 more days. You drove here for such a long time and you can't even stay for 2 days. He looked at her unhappily. I still have work. Is work more important than your aunt? What an unfilial child. Go, drive carefully. He nodded. Why don't you wait for morning? Driving at night wasn't safe. He pursed his lip and ignored June's scold and get into the car. He turned his head looking coldly. There is no traffic jam at night, it's smooth. She nodded and let him go as she watched there for a while and sighed. She didn't know how long it would take for Jungkook to truly open his heart and accept other women. Wyan, this name had disappeared from his life for 5 years and has never appeared again. She really liked you back then, but her nephew and you had no fate together. She can't force anything, no matter how many blind dates she and Namjoon arrange for him. He won't take it seriously. She's afraid that he will stay all by himself in his entire life if that woman didn't come back. You thought that driving at night would be very smooth, but there's suddenly explosion on the highway in the midnight, completely blocking the road ahead. You guys are sound sleeping, but suddenly wake up and saw burst of fire in front. It was a shocking sight, and you hugged Rowoon tightly. Luckily, nothing happened to his side. Oh my god, what happened in front of us? Jenny pulled her head to look at the surrounding. Car couldn't turn back as many cars behind was parked. You didn't feel safe staying in there. Jenny suggested to abandon the car cause that place was dangerous. You immediately nodded. Uncle Han, lock the window first, then we will get off. Then all of you get out of the car. When the people behind saw you guys getting out, so they got out as well. People always had an instinct to avoid danger. Everyone cherished their lives unless they had other thoughts. Many people stand on the highway, then crowd go back. Soon police arrived at the scene and take control. It was an accident. That car exploded unknowingly. Road will be temporarily blocked. Jenny hugged your arms and observed the situation. Rowoon also leaned towards you. When he came to the scene, he also heard the explosion and saw crowded on the highway. He took out his phone and looked at the time. Bunch of cars blocked the road behind him as he wanted to turn. He didn't know how long it will take to evacuate. It was stuffy in the car. He reached out to pinch his temple that were faintly hurting, then get out of the car to take a good breath. In the dark night, a man's figure came out and walked steadily, but didn't walk towards crowd. Instead, walked to the other side of the highway and looked at the scenery in the distance. Some of girls noticed and exclaimed as she saw the back view of man's attractive. She adored fortunately she saw the side view. Wow, that man is so handsome. Other also looked at the direction and couldn't help gossiping. You and Jerry also heard. At such a dangerous moment, people still have a mood. Well, beautiful things always interested people. Moreover, it's not a life or death moment yet. Today was the unlucky day. You didn't have to listen to your brother, but your brother is stubborn than you. He will definitely trouble himself, so you squatted and carry your son as he's sleepy. He didn't let you carry him, but you felt sorry as he didn't want to give trouble to his mother. You blamed yourself because your son was suffering. Although this was not a big deal, your heart still ached when it comes to him. Perhaps it was because the family you stayed was not healthy since you were young and you were so sensitive. Rowoon had always been very sensible. He would not throw a tantrum. He always comforted you instead that upset you. Jenny came to help you to help Rowoon, but you smiled at her, telling that it's fine. After all, he's your son. You don't want to give her pressure. She thought of something and went to take water and snacks for Rowoon. She took out food and closed the door. When she turned around, she saw some of girls looking at the side, so she also looked over curiously. She saw a figure standing in another direction. The man's figure couldn't see properly because of darkness. It seemed that his body proportions were really good. If he was good looking, girls will obviously stare at goodwill. Suddenly, the man leaned his body to the side. His side profile was visible but quickly turned around again. But just one look was enough to make Jenny stunned on the spot. How is that possible? How long was it been since I saw that person? and it is impossible for him to be here now. She comforted herself softly, but she couldn't help thinking and looking at the direction of the man. She hesitated a little. She go back, but curious made her know that man. If it was really him and met coincidentally, what will happen? What if he met you? Her heart became anxious. Aunt Nini, Rowoon made her pull back to her sense. She was absent-minded. You looked at her with concern. What's wrong? She shook her head and gave a water and snacks to you, then passed another to Uncle Han. She stood in front of you. Her smile was awkward, and you noticed it. But she found herself excused to stay still in front of you, as night wind will affect your wound. You didn't care much about and look after a wound. After a while, Jenny turned her head to look at that direction and found that the man was still standing there, looking at his back now. She felt extremely unfamiliar. He was not the person in her memory at all. She heaved a sigh of relief. The world was so big, it was impossible for you to meet him. The moment you returned, she was relieved. After a while, police reported that the way will be clear soon, so everyone felt safe and waited by side. Some eat snacks and play around by the roadside. In short, the road was lively. Rowoon was tired and you were carrying him, but your arms hurt, so you take him to the car and laid him down. You also sat down and made him rest on your lap, as he carefully wrapped his hands around your waist and obediently slept. Uncle Han also followed, but Jenny excused herself for a while. She was quite afraid, so she stared at man's back view, and all kind of thoughts run on her small mind. What if you met him? What would you do? What will happen? She followed her step and hid behind the cars, approaching that man slowly. Her heart was restless. A few girls saw her and came over curiously. Hello, are you going over to ask for phone number? Jenny turned to look at the girls. No. They didn't believe her and looked at judging from her action. She was going to hit on that man. Jenny felt uneasy. She just wanted to confirm that person was the person she thought was. She tried to explain, but they didn't believe. They wanted her to join with them, but Jenny didn't go with them. Girls went to take chances in the situation. Jenny quietly hid behind the car and watched the girls went over. One of them talked shyly. That handsome guy, you look like a senior of mine in the past. The girl uses all purpose to grab the man's attention, but the man still maintained his original posture as if he had not heard the girl's words. He stood there like a huge mountain and whose style emitted in the darkness from man's body. The girl stayed silent for a while, then thought of something and went in front of the man smiling. That high, the girl didn't expect him to stay there without moving, as if he didn't hear her. It was as if he completely treated them as transparent people. They think that he might not know that they're talking with him, so they came in front of him. That you he frowned as the smell of the strong perfume came from women's scram. Unexpectedly, he made girls' smile dropped in one sentence. Their face turned pale from embarrassment. They just wanted to talk, but the man's word was poisoned. Jenny almost laughed. She thought that man's character was not to be trifled with, but the more that man behaved like that, the more frightened she became. If it was that man, it would probably be the same reaction. It was just that back then he was sitting in a wheelchair. Now that the man in front of her stood up, she could not associate the two of them together. She lowered her eyes as engrossed in her thoughts. When she looked up, she just happened to see that man walking with one hand in his pocket, leaving in another direction with a cold face. He walked to the direction of her. Jenny was stunned by the sight of the car when she saw the man's appearance. She felt the cold water pour down from her head and didn't move at all. He passed by her as if he didn't saw her at all. Those girls came being embarrassed and saw Jenny's reaction. Your eyes are about to fall off. You clearly like it to death, but you still refuse to admit it. Women made her came to her senses and stared at the women. Jenny's reaction was more terrifying than a woman's who just got rejected by the man. She only knew that the man who walked over just now was clearly the same as the person 5 minutes ago. He also looked like same. Rowood looked exactly the same. How could it be?